Farmview with Kieran O'Connor on WLR.
Brought to you by GlanviaConnect.com.
Hello, welcome along to your weekly farming programme. Well, as usual, it's Kieran O'Connor with a packed show, and once again, a very busy Farmview for you. On this week's programme, I'll discuss the potential of solar panels for the agri-farming and food sector. We'll hear from Owen Power. He's the founder of Waterford-based Inner Power, and we'll get the details from him. We'll also talk to Peter Mulrine, of course, of Blackwater Gin, recent winners of a prestigious gold medal at the Bloom Food, Flower and Family event in the Felix Park. Plus, we'll also hear from Glanbia Ireland's Pink Bale initiative for Breast Cancer Ireland, which is up and running in branches right across the region. And plus, as always, we'll have our farming calendar.
Farmview with Kieran O'Connor on WLR.
With GlanviaConnect.com, Ireland's biggest online farming shop and more.
Well, the whole area of solar power, indeed green energy, has been a hot topic over the last few years, indeed particularly over the last few months. And we saw the recent elections with the power of the Green Party and the interest in this whole area of green energy. Well, earlier this week I got a chance to talk to a man very much involved in this whole area, Owen Power, founder of Inner Power. First of all, Owen, where did you get the idea from? How did you decide to get involved in this whole area?
Well, Kieran, it started back in 2005. Myself and my brother, who was working in Finland at the time, he relocated back to Ireland, and he had been working in the renewable energy space in Finland. And at that time, we just saw a gap in the market for a renewable energy company. So in 2005, we set the company up. At that time, we were primarily interested in district heating schemes using wood chip or biomass boilers to heat them. So our first contract was for a development in Dundalk called part of Dundalk 2020, where it was 234 houses which were to be heated by a wood chip boiler. After that, we progressed on to other biomass boiler installations from hotels and hospitals all over the country, from IKEA's to Tesco's, but a few of our customers. After that, then we progressed on to wind turbines.
What was your background? Was this all new to you, or what was your background to get involved in this whole area? Were you learning as you were going along?
I suppose there was a lot of learning as we were going along, but Cormac, my brother in the business, had experience in Finland working in the renewable energy space. So his technology, I suppose, was used, to get us off the ground in that regard and get us moving, which it did. Right. And so that's how we actually got into it.
So the wind turbines, what type of an uptake and what type of success rate did you have?
Well, the wind turbines were successful. As you know, we have here a wind turbine here in County Waterford for Flahavans. We also have one in South Kilkenny for a farmer there. We have them for Tesco's and all over the country.
Of course, they can be very divisive in a lot of areas. There's been lots of problems on the ground as regards wind turbines, and did you find that?
Yes, we had lots of issues with planning permissions for turbines. However, we specialised in one-off turbines for businesses, is the area that we specialise in. We didn't really look at the wind farms as such. We were doing one-off wind turbines for businesses. The wind turbines were located near the businesses, which was an industrial environment anyway, and typically it wouldn't have caused as much of visual impact as it would in a virgin landscape.
So obviously you've been involved in the wind turbine area, as you mentioned, mainly with industry, and indeed putting up a wind turbine for a particular industry. The whole solar area, which seems to be a lot of interest in the moment, and solar panels, solar PV. First of all, getting involved in that whole area, was it a case of just moving from the wind? Are you working them side by side?
Right now we're working with them side by side, but around 3 years ago we took on our first solar project, and it's progressed from there. Now, I suppose solar now would be bigger than wind, because I suppose the possibilities for wind in Ireland, or for wind turbines in Ireland, is diminishing all the time with planning restrictions around that whole wind area, whereas the solar panels don't really have as much restrictions on them at present. So that area is a little easier to operate in. Every business that has a roof space can actually benefit from solar, as can homes, farms, anyone essentially using electricity and has a roof space can benefit from.
So your experience in panels, firstly in the business world, before we talk about potential within the farming and agri world on the ground, but within businesses, what type of success rates have you had, and particularly here in Waterford City and County?
Okay, well, in Waterford here, Flahavans, again, with the success of the wind turbine, they came back to us and they asked us would we be interested in putting up solar panels for them. So we completed a project there nearly 2 years ago for them on solar. Last year we completed a project from Arkeen Stores, a supermarket in Waterford here. So that's in Waterford. All over the country we have many solar projects going on, and now the solar would probably be heading for the biggest part of our business at the moment.
And as regards the panels, what type of usage would you need to justify putting it up, or the cost involved, or where's the cut-off point to make it a feasible project?
With the way the government have introduced grants for domestic and for business, now it's feasible for domestic customers to put solar panels up, and then there is really no limit to what a business can get out of it.
And as regards planning, is there planning needed for the solar panels?
Yes, after not for domestic but for industrial applications, yes.
So an average dairy farmer, obviously when I say average, most farmers now are up around the 100, 150 type of numbers with a pretty scaled business. To make that justifiable, what type of costs involved and the type of scale would be involved to make it justifiable, number one, and secondly, the type of grants that are available?
Right, well, for farm businesses now there's a TAMS grant which offers 40% or 60% if the farmer is under 40 years, and then there's an accelerated capital allowance scheme which again brings in another 50% to the total. So a farmer with 6 kilowatt hours of solar panels with a 6 kilowatt hour battery, typically this would cost around €15,000, but with the grant scheme now, that farmer will get that for between €4,000 and €5,000, and that scheme will pay for itself in between 4 and 6 years. It does depend on the farm. Every situation is slightly different. So
as regards from a farming point of view, looking at dairy in particular, obviously we've all the different enterprises, but looking at dairy where it's very much the largest enterprise in County Waterford, as regards the usage, obviously there's a peak in the morning, there's a dip and there's a peak in the evening. How does that work as regards supply from the solar panels? Okay,
well, the solar panels will start generating in the summertime around 7 o'clock in the morning, and they will stop generating around 7 o'clock in the evening, peaking at around 12 noon. Now that kind of is outside what your normal farm usage will be, because the farmer will turn on the milking machine at 7 in the morning, it's gone by about 9, it's back on again at 4 and finished by about 6. So to bridge that gap, basically we introduce a battery storage into the process when the solar panels come on in the morning.
So between milking, you're saying the feed is going in to feed up the battery?
Exactly. So during the middle of the day, the solar panels will charge the battery, and when the milking happens again in the evening time, the battery is fully charged and it's there then to provide free electricity.
Farmers in the past, particularly over the last number of years, obviously generators have become part and parcel of most dairy farmers as backup when there is problems and electricity cut-offs, as we had last year in the bad storms and the snow and whatever. A fear as regards going back into the system, or is that an issue?
At the size we're talking about for solar installations for dairy farms and the inverter technology that's available today, this will prevent that from happening.
We're talking a lot about dairy within County Waterford. You have pig farms, you have poultry farms, you have beef farms, and across the board. Have you been involved in any other type of farming?
I suppose we have been involved in mushroom growing farms. We have been involved in some pig farms and some poultry units.
So potential there, obviously.
Huge potential. Huge potential, especially in those types of businesses, poultry and pigs and mushroom businesses, because those organisations are using power all day long and they don't need batteries. One might ask on the outside, Ireland obviously last year being the exception, with a fabulous summer, a drought of a summer really last year was exceptional. The actual fear that we don't have enough sunlight to drive the panels, well, you can understand people having a fear of that. Yes, absolutely. The difference between last year and this year will be less than 5%, could be 1 or 2%. If this year turns out to be what it is now, we have cloudy days, but it's not absolute blue skies you need. It's the long days in summer. We still have that amount of light here, and in Ireland we get the same amount of light here as they do in France, in parts of France, obviously not in the south of France, but in the north of France through Brittany and Normandy, we would have the same amount of light. So obviously yourself, your brother and the whole company, NR Power, you must be delighted. You're based in Waterford City, you must be delighted the way it's driving on, and now the potential with people becoming more aware of the environment, more aware of green energy. You're really in the right sector at the right time. Yes, we're very excited about the future. Like, there's more electricity being used now with the electric cars coming online, that every household and every business now are going to be charging cars during the middle of the day. So I suppose, as I say, you're based in Waterford City. If people want to find out more, I suppose, if they go onto your website, enerpower.ie, they'll find out all details. They'll find out absolutely all details. We'd be delighted to talk to anyone. Well, Owen, it's a fantastic success story to you, your brother Cormac, and all involved in NR Power, a Waterford-based company now doing so well across the whole green energy area, particularly now in the solar panel area. Owen Power, congrats, well done. Best of luck in the future, and I'm sure you'll have a big uptake from the farming and agri sector. We hope so. Our phone is certainly ringing every day with farmers inquiring about solar panels. Owen Power of NR Power, thanks for talking to us. Thank you, Kieran.
Farmview with Kieran O'Connor on WLR.
with GlanbiaConnect.com. Thousands of products in the palm of your hand.
And you're welcome back to part 2 of Farmview. Now, before we hear all about Blackwater Gin's gold medal at Bloom and also Glanbia Ireland's Pink Bale initiative in aid of Breast Cancer Ireland, let's have a look at St Ida's farming calendar. First of all, turning to Dungarvan Mart, Willis General Cattle and Calf Sale at Monday's Mart, commencing as always at 11 o'clock on Monday morning. Turning to our farmer markets, busy time on the farmer markets at present. This Saturday we've Waterford Farmers Market, John Roberts Square, as well as the Butlerstown Farmers Market, and also on Saturday mornings we've the Strawberry Market in the Cove Bar. On Sunday we'll Lismore Farmers Market, Castle Avenue, Lismore, every Sunday running from 10 until 4, while in Ardmore for the summer months we've the Ardmore Farmers Market just off the beach car park running every Sunday from 11 until 3. Thursday is Dungarvan Farmers Market, Grattan Square, every Thursday morning, while on Friday mornings we've Dungarvan Country Markets, Causeway Tennis Club and Abbeyside, and also on Friday mornings we've the Waterford Country Markets in St Olave's Hall. Now, a big event for beef farmers next week. Teagasc will hold a beef farm walk on the farm of James Madigan, Ballyhale on Wednesday next at 11 o'clock. Covered on the day will be requirements for the BDGP scheme, a demo on the weighing for the beef scheme, and also discussion on cattle thrive and maintaining good grass quality for the summer. Turning to our show jumping front, as we've mentioned over the past number of weeks, an unregistered show jumping league is up and running at the Phelan Farm in Kappa every Thursday at 10 in the morning and 5 in the evening, with 3 shows to qualify for the finals. While on shows, don't forget of course this weekend it's the annual Cork Summer Show at Curraheen this Saturday and Sunday, with a very special attraction this year, helicopter rides for visitors this Saturday and Sunday to the Cork Summer Show. Now, while on show, Pat Cunningham was on to tell us, chairman of Dungarvan Agricultural Show, that Dungarvan Agricultural Show Ballygagan will take place on Thursday the 25th of July. Put that date in your diary. As usual, they'll have all the cattle classes, dairy, beef, sheep, horses, as well as show jumping, dog show, home industries, crafts, country markets, you name it, they'll have it. And indeed we'd hope to talk to Pat on next week's programme. Also a date for your diary for dairy farmers, as we mentioned on last week's programme, the Moore Park 2019 Irish Dairying Grown for Sustainability Open Day will take place on Wednesday the 3rd of July, and we'll have more details as we approach the big day in Moore Park, Thursday the 3rd of July. And finally on our farming calendar, on last week's programme we spoke to Michael Keane about Dungarvan Co-op celebrating 100 years this year, and as part of that a special history book is being produced, but they urgently require any memorabilia you may have, old photos, press cuttings, Co-op annual reports, invoices, statements. If you can drop them into Lisa or any of the staff in Country Life Dungarvan, they'll be scanned and returned to you in good condition.
Farmview with Kieran O'Connor on WLR.
With GlanbiaConnect.com. Thousands of products in the palm of your hand.
Well, last week on our programme we previewed the Bloom, the big weekend of Irish gardening, food and family fun at the Phoenix Park. We spoke to the man himself, Gary Graham, and he mentioned that one of the entrants in the Super Gardens was the Blackwater Gin Company, who, would you believe, went on and won the gold medal in the medium garden section. Very competitive, but they came away with the gold medal. So earlier this week I went along to the Blackwater Gin facility in Ballyduff Upper and spoke to the man himself, Peter Mulrine. Peter, first of all, congrats. You must be thrilled.
I am. It was great. It was fantastic to win gold. Absolutely brilliant.
Where did you get the idea, first of all, to get involved? We'll talk about the distillery later, but where did you get the idea to get involved in an event like Bloom? Because gin and flowers don't seem to go together.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it wasn't my idea. I could say it was my idea, but I'd be lying. It was Caroline Senior's idea. Caroline being the CEO of the Festival of Food West Waterford, and indeed on our board at Blackwater here. It was her idea. She's got a very good, feeling for marketing. So we discussed it and as a team and figured, we'll give it a lash. I mean, it wasn't cheap, but we thought at the stage of our development now where we need to start putting our name out there, so we went for it. Yeah.
And actually having an idea but putting it into fruition, where'd you go as regards design and from a horticultural end and from a design end?
We went to Bloom then, and Caroline spoke to Bloom and said, look, we want to do this, and they put us in contact with about 12 different gardeners who would be of a sufficient level of expertise, and we met a couple of them. We got back proposals. One in particular we liked from the Hairy Gardeners. That's Peter and Monty. They're based out of Manchester, so we liked what they did. It was all about upcycling and recycling. We took them on board, and they had an Irish landscaping company who basically built the garden to their design.
So the theme of the garden, for anybody who hasn't seen it,
it's about the theme really was a space to relax in, so a space to go to close off the world and enjoy your gin and tonic, your Blackwater gin. We liked the fact that the guys were working mostly in recycled materials, so it was all recycled or upcycled, and that kind of suits what our ethos here. So and they're nice guys, and we work well together.
You must have been thrilled. The judges went around. There was over 30 super gardeners. You were in the medium class. When you got the word, you'd won gold. It must have been a huge sense of satisfaction.
I was thrilled for the guys who designed the garden, because I can take no credit for it at all. I just wrote a brief.
You brought along the gin.
I wrote on the gin and signed the check, and that's kind of all the credit I can take. But they did a super job. I was thrilled for them, because they won a silver last year for a garden for the Marie Keating Foundation, and then this year they got a gold, and that's great.
Now, the Blackwater gin, the whole gin, the boom within the gin industry, obviously, I spoke to you a year or two ago. You were in the Cappoquin facility. You've since moved to Ballyduff Upper. Just before we came on air, you said you still have the Cappoquin facility
we're
going.
So busy we can't close Cappoquin, so we're in two facilities now, Ballyduff and Cappoquin, and we're also making whiskey.
So the Ballyduff here, you converted what was the McCarthy hardware here. You've done a fabulous job, but how well has that worked?
Worked very well, and we spent $1.5 million on the buildings. A lot of money in a small town. We now employ 9 people, which is phenomenal, really.
Your market as regards Blackwater, obviously Blackwater, it's a lovely name, lovely ring to a Blackwater gin, but your core market?
Core market is still Ireland, and it's beginning to plateau in Ireland now, so it's going to get harder for brands this year, which is one reason we spent the money at Bloom. Okay. We're also focusing on export. We now have an export manager. Next week we're off to Denmark. We have a Danish importer in Denmark. So you're looking at
European market, UK, Europe?
UK we're in already, so Denmark, Spain, Eastern Europe, as far as Australia.
Would you have a fear as regards the gin that there's an overkill in gin? As you said,
there is.
You realise that it's plateauing out, so it is. It'll only be the survival of the fittest, basically.
Yeah, completely, and there are certain dubious brands who will bite the dust this year, which is fine by me, and those who are good and those who are strong and those who are genuine will succeed. The
manufacture and the distilling of gin to the outsider, what's actually involved? We're here in the plant here, and I've seen the lovely copper casks.
It's pretty straightforward. That's why there are so many gin people. The entry point is not that high for spending your money, but it's a 48-hour process, really. If you're distilling a gin, and the best gins are distilled, is you basically make a flavoured vodka. You use vodka and you just redistill it in the presence of botanicals like juniper, coriander, cinnamon, oranges.
So the raw materials, what's used?
It's vodka. Yeah. It's a flavoured. It's the world's first flavoured vodka. That's what gin is. That's what proper distilled gin is. Yeah.
So the move to Ballyduff has been a success.
It's been a huge success. Yeah. It's allowed us to expand, to scale up production, to start making whiskey, and to do things in a more comfortable environment.
At the West Waterford Festival of Food, you actually opened it up to the tours.
We did.
How well did that work?
Super. And we had tours in, and they had a great time, and we did a day-long workshop on whiskey making, and all going well. Now we'll be open to the public here in the very near future.
So is that the intention? Yeah. You have the distillery here, but you want to open it up to the Joe public as such, coming along on a Sunday afternoon or any afternoon to visit the distillery here.
That's the idea. We need to obviously put structures in place, and we need to have a proper tour for people so that they get a sense of what's going on here, and obviously there are health and safety implications we're sorting out. So as soon as we're good to go, we'll be open.
Well, Peter, it's a great success story. First of all, the Blackwater gin story, but more importantly and more recently, winning gold at Bloom, a fantastic achievement. To you and all involved, well done, congrats, and long live Blackwater gin.
Thank you. I'm available for garden designs if you're really stuck.
Thanks a million. Well, over the past number of years, Glanbia Ireland has been very much involved in the Pink Bale initiative, all in aid of Breast Cancer Ireland. Tell us all about it. We're joined by a man who's very much involved in the coordinating of this Pink Bale initiative, and that's Glanbia Ireland's marketing manager, James Byrne. James, firstly, the Pink Bale initiative, where did the idea and concept come from for Breast Cancer Ireland?
Well, I suppose, Kieran, we've been doing it for about 5 years now. It would have started originally down in New Zealand, is where the idea would have come from. Then it came to Ireland a few years ago. We've been running it for 5 years and raising money for Breast Cancer Ireland, who are our charity partner.
At the ploughing last year, a big cheque was handed over, but over the 5 years, I'm sure you've amassed a fair sum of money for Breast Cancer Ireland.
We have indeed, and this is just one of a number of initiatives we do. We raised about 100,000 for Breast Cancer Ireland last year. We do our pink bales. This year we have done a pink flower in aid of Breast Cancer Ireland in our garden centres. We also do a cycle, we climb mountains, we do all sorts of things over the course of the year.
As regards farmers then, what's your message to farmers? Obviously a lot of baling going on over the next few weeks and months right up to the ploughing in September. So what's the message you want to say to Glanbia suppliers and farmers?
Absolutely. Well, it's the busy time for silage obviously at the moment, so firstly we'd be asking farmers to please support the campaign, pick up the pink bales, which you can get in any Glanbia agribusiness or Country Life branch. You can also get them online on glanbiaconnect.com, and every time you buy a roll of the pink wrap, you're supporting Breast Cancer Ireland directly and you're raising funds for them. And secondly, we would ask everybody to display your pink bales, so don't bring them straight back to the yard. If you can, put some of them on display at the side of the road in a visible location, because the campaign is also about raising awareness in rural communities about the importance of breast health and about the importance of tackling breast cancer and the valuable research that Breast Cancer Ireland do.
Last year, I think it really came home to us when you had the presentation at the Ploughing, and Anya Lawler of RT and several other breast cancer victims were there to tell their story and how important this whole research is to them.
Yeah, and survivors, I guess. We get great support from Breast Cancer Ireland and from their own champions who are all survivors of breast cancer, and they give of their own time then to campaign for the organisation as well. So it's a small organisation. They're funding some really important research, some really new novel research as well, so really important that we give them support.
Finally, over the 5 years, you must be delighted with the farmers have embraced this concept. Indeed, the sales are going up year on year. So once again this year, the appeal is out: buy your pink bales and support Breast Cancer Ireland.
Absolutely. Like, the pink bale is fantastic because it stands out so much. So the first year it might not have been that comfortable for all farmers to be buying pink bales, but everyone really gets behind it now. We sell out every year. We hope to sell out again this year, and we thank all of our customers for their support.
James Byrne, Marketing Manager for Glanbia Ireland. Once again, James, best of luck with the Pink Bale initiative. It's up and running now. Get your app in your local Glanbia Ireland branch and help support Breast Cancer Ireland. Thanks for talking to us, James. And finally, before we go, 2 Waterford winners at Punchestown, with Henry de Bromhead saddling yet another winner, and Dungarvan trainer John Kiley and Dungarvan owner Conor Lennon of the Dacia Country Store providing Millerstown jock Mikey Hamill with his very first winner since his return from Cross Channel. On the point-to-point scene, belated congrats to the Kileys of Ballylemon and Kappa on a fantastic family double at Kinsale point-to-point, with both winners trained by Paul, ridden by Richie and owned by brother Tom Kiley. What an achievement and a day to remember for the Kileys. On the international show jumping front, young Colligan native and UK-based rider Peter Maloney had a brilliant weekend in Germany last weekend with a fantastic win and third place at a prestigious international show, and Peter has also been selected this weekend for the Ireland Nations Cup squad for an international in Poland. While on the racing front, Cross Channel, Dungarvan jock Trevor Whelan had a nice winner on the flat at Windsor, while back at Clonmel, Rathgormack trainer Pat Flynn saddled a winner for Stradbally jock Dave Kiley in the saddle, and also at Clonmel, Aglish trainer Roger McGrath was in the winners' enclosure for his father-in-law John Motherway of Aglish, while Waterford owner Debbie Halley and Knockeen trainer Henry de Bromhead saddled a winner at Roscommon on Tuesday evening last. Great week indeed for Waterford connections. Well, that's it for this week's programme. So from Ollie and Sound and myself, Kieran O'Connor, it's goodbye for now, but hopefully I'll have your company again same time next week.
Farmview with Kieran O'Connor on WLR.
With GlanbiaConnect.com. Thousands of products in the palm of your hand.